Still in love with you. Still in love with you. Still in love with you. Hello, by Sirwalterj show. I am he. It is evening edition. Hey, how y'all is? Come on in. The water is over here. It's fine. I got a doozy tonight. I got a Uzi to the doozy tonight. We have been walking in this park lately and talking about issues and vicissitudes dealing with couples and singles and about all kinds of stuff. And in the park, we try and talk about things that can enhance relationships, whether it's you looking for somebody, or they got the eye on you, or y'all are together in marriage, and there's some things that you need to do to spice it up just a little bit. So today, I got a very special guest with me, a long time friend of mine, known since, long time. Fellowshiped at the same church. My father was a Levite at the church, and on and on and on. Anyway, her and her family been in my family, with my family, long time. And we want to talk about health and the failing health of your lover, and what do you do about it? How do you cope with it? Do you get out of that relationship? And not just in marriage, but those of you who are falling in love or who are in love. I think we could put a whole lot of spins on here. I know it's Thursday night, and many of you are just now getting ready to get home from Bible study or choir rehearsal and all that stuff. So you'll tune in later on. Look at all that. Somebody decided to pass that. I don't know what that come from. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all this right here. That's grass. I thought it might have been like a bird nest or something like that. I don't know. I got here the great Lady Reshell from Warriors Talk with Lady Reshell. How you doing, sir, ma'am? I said, sir, ma'am. You doing all right?
I'm doing great.
You see that light right there? Even though it's behind us, it ain't giving us much light, is it?
I see.
There it is. See, look, we got some light. Okay, for those of you who ever been watching my shows at night, you'll notice that sometimes I do have special guests to come over here and walk with me in the park, male or female, and sometime during the day. Tonight I thought it'd be a great idea to talk about health. Lady Reshell has had some issues there. Elena says, hey, are you on?
Hi.
Yeah. How you doing? Oh, yes. She says hi. There has been some issues that Lady Reshell had to deal with because of the big C. Y'all know what that is. And that big C has attacked many in our families and wiped out many of our family as well. But what do you do when you are in love with somebody and you discover, or they all discover together, after a doctor's appointment, you got some kind of ailment, and how do you cope with this? All right? So, Reshell, I think we need to first talk about, what do you do when you're single and you're in love and you discover that he or she have an illness? Okay? Left the doctor. The doctor says you have an illness. It may be treatable or not, we don't know. What's the first thing that you need to do? Because he don't know yet.
Right.
What do?
You got to process it yourself first before you can tell anybody else. You got to let it marinate in your mind so you can figure out exactly what it is that you want to do, and before you bring anybody else into the picture. So you're going to have to seek God for yourself first and get some direction, and then you got to find a way to break the news to your partner.
Partner way. Should you walk with me, just walking in the park.
Okay.
Should you, let's say you got children. Did you tell them first?
No. Well, my daughter found out because she was there when the doctor called, so she found out before anybody else.
Your daughter did find out before. Okay.
Her and my mom.
Her and your mom.
Yes.
All right. And then you decided you got to tell somebody else in the family.
Yes.
Who'd you tell next?
I ended up telling my son. I'm hoping that was firecrackers and
I'm out here every
So-
night, and they've been trying to get rid of the rest of their their cracker.
So I told my son second. I'm home for a break from the Army, and it was around Christmas time, and I told him, come take a walk with me, a drive with me. So we got in the car, we took a drive, I stopped, and I broke the news to him. And so he was the third person that found out. And I waited before I told the little girls.
You waited? How long?
Oh God, it was months into it. I might have been a good 6 months into my treatment.
Why did you wait that long?
I wasn't ready for them to know, for one. I wasn't ready to answer all the questions. I was still trying to process it myself. I didn't know what was going to be the outcome.
Right.
And so I was kind of like trying to replay in my head how I was going to tell them and when I was going to tell them. And then I was waiting for the right moment. And I had that right moment when it was time to tell them. Was a moment when I got sick and I couldn't take them to school. And I was able to make it to the car. Once we got in the car, I didn't have enough strength to even turn the key.
Yeah.
So I told I think she was 17 at the time, my Leah. I said, I had a book that my girlfriend gave me, and it explains cancer in kids' terms. So it told them exactly what was going on with me. So I said, can you read this to them? So I was waiting to read it to them. I didn't even have the strength to read it. She read it to them. I went back in the house. When she got done reading it, they ran back in the house and they was hugging me, kissing me, saying, Mom, we love you. We sorry. Because they was like, we can't go to school. Are you serious? We ready to go. And I was just like, Mommy don't feel well. And so that's how they found out.
That's how they found out. What would you have done, though, if there was a lover in your life?
I think we probably would have told them together. We probably would have sat down and broke the news to them together.
Why do you think that's important?
To be seen as a unit, to let them know that we all are going to tackle this. It's not just affecting one person, but what Mommy is about to go through is about to affect everybody in the family. So we need everybody's support, everybody to understand exactly what's going on.
So, what if there's no children? You get sick. His response is, I don't know if I want this. I don't know if I can deal with this.
If you're sick and he doesn't want to deal with it?
Yeah. And he may not say it out of his mouth, but he may
His
start
actions.
showing. Yes, he starts showing it. He's not calling you anymore. He don't visit no more. He's having some doubts now. That and do I want to go in deeper into this relationship with this sick person and have to deal with the sickness? What should be the response from the person who's sick? You got some decisions you got to make, right?
You do, considering I've been through it with somebody.
Okay.
I'm not going to try and convince you to stay with me because my main focus is my healing.
Right.
And so if you're not on board with me, then I'm just going to have to let you do what you need to do, and I'm going to focus on healing. So, I mean, I was in that situation to where the person didn't even acknowledge that I was sick. Like, he didn't even acknowledge. He knew I told him about the cancer diagnosis, and I discussed treatment with him, and he was just like, don't do treatment, delay it a little bit, let's talk about it, let's research it, let's see what else you could do. But at the same time, he wasn't trying to help me do anything. He was coming up with all these ideas, but he wasn't putting in any work. And I was just like, you know what, I have to do what I have to do. And sooner or later, he just started slowly, since he was ignoring that I had cancer, it was like, it was business as usual. So whatever we were doing, it was just like, okay, even though she had treatment today, we still gonna go do this. Not taking into consideration, she may be exhausted and may not feel like doing this. It was like, I'm not even gonna acknowledge that she has this.
You think that men, you ready to walk again?
Yeah.
You think that men treat sickness different than women treat it, or respond to sickness different? Because me, when I was married, I didn't know how to respond to my wife's sickness. First of all, I didn't realize that she was such a sickly person. So when we got married, she got sicker. So I had to decide whether to fight or flight.
Right.
Okay, so I'm young, and wasn't used to being around sick people. I hated hospitals. I hated it. All right, so I didn't know what to do. So you got a young couple. You think that men respond differently?
Yes, men do respond differently when their spouse or their partner is sick. I read a study where it says 75% of first marriages end in divorce when a spouse is ill or have a terminal illness or a chronic illness.
Wow.
The men tend to divorce or leave. It also said that men are 7 times more likely to leave or file for divorce when their partner is ill. Women tend to stay out of obligations, to, saying I do in sickness and in health. We tend to stay feeling obligated, like I have to take care of him.
Right.
I said I do. Men, on the other hand, it's something that's within them. And I don't really want to say they don't care.
Right.
Because it's not that they might not care. It could be a fear that they have when it comes to sickness. Men like to fix things, and if they can't fix it, they like, I don't want to have nothing to do with it.
That's true.
They want to be able to fix it, and it makes them feel helpless, like I can't do anything for her. I'm supposed to protect her, and I can't do that because she's telling me she has this illness that I can't even control. So they feel like they're losing control, so they don't want to be a part of it. So most of them do leave, whether it be mentally or physically. They check out.
You check out. And I agree with you. Karen says mine did. Bridget says that's true. I agree with you. There were times when my wife was sick, I wanted out. I wanted out. Why? Not so much because I didn't have any compassion towards her. It's just that I didn't know what to do, and I was afraid. And I think unfortunately the physician didn't help me. And I think he had a responsibility. I really do think he had a responsibility to sit us both down and say, no, Mr. Jones, here's what's happening with your wife. All right, I'm going to let you know. That never happened. And during that time, there wasn't really no internet. We really didn't have an internet. We had encyclopedias, or we had the library. All right, so her sicknesses, I would have had to go to the library and study, find out what that is, but I didn't even do that. Now she told me what it is, but I'm like, what is this endometriosis?
Right.
What is that? And that thing caused other problems within her body. And instead of me researching it and trying to figure out what it is so that I can be a support, I shut down. Right. Because that statistic is true. I believe I was in that statistic. I didn't know what to do. I became emotionally detached from her. All right, and so that's an issue that a lot of men go through. So what do you think the process should be? What is the fix for that?
The fix is so that you won't shut down.
For men. For men,
I feel that it should be effective communication.
Okay.
Like, not just communicating, okay, I have this disease, but I'm going to put some of the blame on the doctors to where they should sit down with a family and say, this is what's going on. This is what your partner is experiencing. Because if she's going through it 9 times out of 10, she's not going to be able to explain everything, because when she's sitting there, she's not hearing everything. Right. So this is why it's important for men to go to the doctor with their partners, so that they can sit down and understand what's going on, because you guys are technical. You're going to, you're logic. So you're going to hear exactly what she needs to do. She's going to be too emotional. She's going to hear all we key in on all the bad stuff, which is kind of crazy. But I think if you have effective communication, you're able to sit down and say, okay, babe, I don't know what's going on. I really don't understand this. Tell me how I can help you. How can we, and say we, not you, get through this, but how can we get through this? Include yourself in on the process so she knows that you're there with her and she's just not left out in the cold. If you don't want to go inside the doctor's office with her, at least take her to the appointment. And if you can't get off work to take her, leave something in her bag, a note in her bag, say, hey, babe, I love you. Here's a snack. I'm thinking about you. Call me when you're done. But just let her know that you're there. You're a part of the process versus not being there. Because it's pretty overwhelming. It's like, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
When you're going through a terminal illness or a chronic illness, it's like a roller coaster from hell. And personalities shift. So the person that's sick their personality shifts, and you're like, who is this person? I don't know who this is. You probably didn't even know who your wife was. You're like, I didn't marry this person.
Right.
It's not the same person I married. So their personality shift because of the disease. The disease is actually, you know, it's messing with their mind. It's kind of taking over. And if you don't stop, you're gonna go through the stages of grief. You're gonna go through loss.
That was gonna be my next point. Do you think that the woman gets sicker because now her husband or lover she sees the abandonment? You think that it will affect her physiologically?
It does affect you. Let me tell you, the only reason why I was able to make it is because I had an awesome support system. Even though my partner, my lover, was not there for me, my support system was there for me. My church, my faith in God. But the one thing that I wanted from him that he just could not give me, that it was so simple, was a hug.
Wow.
Like when I told him about the diagnosis, it was like he didn't say not one time that he said, you know, babe, I'm so sorry. You know, we're going to get not one time did he hug me and say, it's okay. You know, I just wanted a hug. Like, just give me a hug. I understand, and you know, you got this man thing going on, you macho and all of that. But just let me know, you know, you want your lover, your husband, whoever, to hug you so you can feel safe. And he did not do that for me. Yeah. And that hurt me. But thank God that I wasn't, you know, I didn't let that play on my mind.
Play on your mind. When my wife was sick, I didn't go to the hospital with her. I didn't go to the doctor's appointments. I was afraid. What can the woman do, though, to help her husband or her man? Because in a sense, it's almost like he needs support. Right. You know, is there something that she could do? I'm glad God didn't forsake us in our spiritual sickness. Ooh, yeah. Dre, you better preach. So is there something that she can do for him?
It is, and a lot of times the person that's the caregiver gets overlooked. So when they see you, they'll be like, oh, you know, how is she doing? But they never ask how you doing. And you know, even though you're taking care of it, you kind of do feel like you're left out. But what she can do is, if she know you know your partner, so you know if that's not his thing. Like my dad, when my mom went in labor, he didn't go to the hospital. He got one of his sisters, and he picked his sister up and dropped my mom off at the front door and say, call me when the baby is here, because that wasn't his thing. Right. My mom, she knew that, so she didn't fuss at him and, you know, make him feel bad because he wasn't there. She knew that was him. So I think if you know your partner and you know that he's having a hard time with this, then I think it's your responsibility to say, babe, you know, don't worry about coming to the hospital. When I get home, just make sure that I have, you know, my bed is ready, make sure the food is done, it's cooked, you know, just make sure I get there and I get back. But don't try to force him to go or make him feel guilty. Case in point, I was doing my chemo, and I kept asking him to go to my appointments, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna go. And I was going from February to June. The end of June, I kept asking him to go with me. He went to the very last appointment. Wow. And because I know he really didn't want to go, but I wanted him to experience it to see exactly what I was going through. But it took that last appointment for him to go, and that was the one and only appointment he went to. After that, I mean, he didn't show up at my surgery. He didn't go to none of my radiations. Like, I didn't see him until a month after my surgery. I had my surgery, but I didn't see him until like a month after I had my surgery. And that was devastating to me. It's like, who does it? What kind of partner does that?
Yeah. A time says when I went through my illness, my companion did the same thing. He would say, I'm sorry for my illness, and he would say, it's not your fault, but he still
bailed on you.
Bailed on me.
Wow.
This is common. You read the statistics.
Yes.
It's common from
common. It's real common. And when you think about it, men are visual. So a man, well, let me tell you this story real quick. It was about two actor. They were like a couple. They were a power couple. And the woman, they were together 14 years. The woman got sick. She had cancer. And a couple of months into her treatment, he left. Went back to an old girlfriend. That was in 97. In 2001, their divorce was final. And then he ended up getting lung cancer. And so they ended up being friends. And she had a chance to ask him, why did you leave? Why did you bail on me? You know, and he told her, I was afraid of cancer. Like, I was afraid. The one thing that I was afraid of, it was happening to somebody that I love, and I couldn't do nothing about it. Yeah. And so that made him feel helpless. And then he also said, you know, the one thing that I felt like that was my prized possession, like when I walked the street, I could stick out my chest and say, you know, this is mine, and you're beautiful. And now cancer is taking that away from you. And he apologized to her. He ended up dying later that year, but she did get a chance to find out why he bailed on her.
See, a lot of this is mental. My father, I've told this story on Facebook, but I get a lot of new people to come and join us. But my father, who you know quite well, 9 children. He's the breadwinner.
Yes.
All right? Take good care of my mom, always have. And then one day on the scaffolding, because he's a carpenter, he fell and broke his leg. All right? Shattered that leg. Yeah. Now, wheelchair, or he have to walk with the sticks. He can't do nothing on his own. And I never, ever thought I'd see such an angry man before. My father got so angry and mean, and he took it out on us. Right? I mean, we could do nothing right. And when I'm young, though, and I didn't understand why is he so mean? When I got older, I realized. What do you think that was?
Because he couldn't provide. He felt like he was helpless, like he wasn't the provider that he should be. And so it made him feel vulnerable.
Yes, exactly. He couldn't do nothing. And so this strong he-man is now down to Walter, Larry, right. Michael, Rodney, yeah, you know, pass me this, pass me that, and you can literally see the smoke coming out of his nose because he was so angry, and so he took it out on us. So I think now, do you think when you read that journal, did the same thing about color scheme? Do you think that black men are reacted differently than white men?
It did not mention anything about color. The couple that I told you about was actually white. They were white. Caucasian. Yes, they were. Okay. So it did not say anything about color. Okay. I don't, you know, because I've talked to ladies who have had cancer, and black, white, Hispanic, and it's all the same. Okay. It doesn't. Across the board. It's across the board the same. Yeah. Some numbers may be a little higher than the others, but they're all the same. They say, "Oh, my husband left me. He couldn't deal with it." You know, it's just something about seeing your woman sick, and not to mention coming home with missing body parts, and you know you have no hair, and just to think he is at work and he's looking at these voluptuous women with their breasts and the butt, and he's at church, they have the breasts, and then he come home to his wife, she has no breasts, she has no hair, and she's down to like 100 and something pounds when she used to be, you know, 170, she's down to 140. That plays on his mind because men are visual. Right. And, you know, they get turned on, they stimulate that way. And, you know, women do in a way, but more so for men. So you got to see exactly what they're going through and kind of have some type of compassion for them and try to understand why they get so fearful. Why they get so fearful. That's good. Charlene says the woman is the rib. The woman is his rib, so to abandon her in the way, in the very time she needs him is selfish and heartbreaking. Yeah. It is. Yeah, that's true. And I think there just need to be a little more education on that. It does. When I'm counseling couples, I bring this stuff up. Every scenario, because I went through almost every scenario in my marriage. So I bring this stuff up and they're like, why are you talking about this? Because you might go through this and you don't know. I talk about cheating. What happens if she cheats? No, we're good. Yeah, okay. You're always good before you get into the marriage. You're always good. What happens if cancer happens, sir? I don't know. We didn't think about that. Okay. You got any insurance? Ooh, well, we're working on that. So you got to talk about this stuff. But what about not just sickness, but what about you're small, we're getting married, now somebody begin to get... They gain weight? They begin to gain weight. Yeah. Remember that Tyler Perry... Well, no, it wasn't Tyler Perry movie. It was that movie where they all... these couples... Oh, the Clumps? Is it the Clumps? No? These couples, they made a part 2 to it. These couples went to meet at a resort. You know I don't watch TV, so... Well, not TV, it's a movie. Oh. They went to a resort together.
and each of them are married, and one might have been dating. I can't remember, but the one was fat. The singer, the soul singer, the neo soul girl.
Jill Scott.
Yes.
Oh, Why Did I Get Married?
Is that it? Yeah.
I think that's the name of it. Yeah, with Janet Jackson in it.
Right.
Yes.
Her husband hated her because of her weight, and he would call her these fat jokes and things like that. Yeah. And then she eventually lost the weight.
She lost the weight,
and then the taste was lost too.
Yes.
In a sense.
But did you see how when she got with the other guy, how instead of him just belittling her and saying, you need to lose the weight, you're too heavy, he actually said, let's go walking. You know, let's go running.
He sure did.
They did it together, and then it's more fun when you incorporate each other in the mix versus you just saying, "Oh, babe, you need to lose weight." I mean, I went through that. I got down to 140 pounds, and the guy that I was with, he was like, "I'm gonna need you to gain 30 pounds." Like, I'm like, did you not just see what I went through? Like, I didn't lose the weight purposely.
Right.
I lost the weight because I was sick. And he was like, okay, but I'm going to need you to gain 30 pounds. And he was saying that because he was in the limelight. Like, he was, he's out here doing his thing, and he's in the limelight. And so whatever woman is with him, he wants her to look a certain way because people are going to be looking at him. So he's telling me, I don't want you with me. And you looking like that. And he did stop taking me. Like, I would go to most of his gigs with him, and he just started going by himself, and I knew what that was about. And that was just my God's way of saying, y'all about to separate,
about to part ways.
Yes.
Wow. So mostly we've been talking about the woman losing having physical problems. Okay, what about the man? The man's having these physical problems. You do see a lot of times in movies and TV and what have you, it seems like the woman is more supportive of him when he's sick. And then you get a couple of them. You get some that are trifling.
Oh wow!
A couple of them.
She was 220 and she went to 168, and he says
your
bones. Wow.
So the reverse effect can happen where you're big and now you're small, because some men like meat.
Yes.
All right, and so now you're losing too much weight, like you said, and it's a turnoff for him, because you said earlier that men are visual.
Men are visual.
We're made that way. So because we're visual, shouldn't a woman? What can we do to teach our daughters who are getting ready to move into a relationship? How could we tell them, instruct them on the visuality of men, and to prepare for it? Because she's out, Daddy, I'm in love. Okay, all right. Men are visual. Should that be my lesson to her?
Well, no, I think she should be, first of all, comfortable in her own skin and her own body, and not be moved because he said, oh, babe, you look like bones because you lost a little weight. I mean, because we all have our flaws. I mean, he may have a gut, but that doesn't bother you. You're not, most of the time, women, we don't tell our man, oh, you have a gut, or
True.
this. We don't say that. We deal with it. Or we say, well, babe, let's eat a salad instead of doing this. Or, babe, let's go walk and let's go to the gym. What I would tell my daughter is have the conversation with him to find out what it is that he likes. And, if that's going to be your husband, then you try to stay within the realms of what he likes. I mean, that's what I would do, just so that I would be appealing to him. Because you don't want to say, well, do what you want to do, girl. If he gonna like me, he gonna... No, don't be selfish. If you know men are visual, then you're gonna dress the way your man wants you to dress. You're gonna wear certain things that he like. You're gonna wear your hair. You're gonna get your nails done. You're gonna smell good. So, don't stop doing those things to keep it appealing for him. Because if you're not doing them, other ladies are doing. He's gonna see other ladies and he's gonna be attracted. And he's gonna wander off and you're gonna be like, what did I do?
What did I do?
Yes.
Most times...
Keep it spicy.
They're not. Keep it spicy. More times than not, he's feeling... now come to his manhood. He's coming to his manhood. Okay, he's no longer the breadwinner. He now is faced with not being able to solve the problems of not having the answers.
That's true. And that weighs heavy on a man, that they're not able to, they can't fix it.
Can't fix it.
And so now that I can't fix it, it's like, what do you need me for? It's like if you have a woman and she's like, I'm this strong woman, I'm this superwoman, I do everything by myself, I pay all my bills, and the man is like, okay, he's just like, You know, he started moving, you know, he started going, you know, fading, because it's like she don't need me.
Right.
She doesn't need me. And men they want to feel needed. They want you to want them. They want to be needed. They want to feel like they're making a difference.
Making a difference. And then terminal illness happens. The person, one or the other, is failing fast. And there's some preparations that need to happen.
Yes.
Mine sure didn't upgrade. Karen, you on a roll tonight. All right, he stays long enough, and then she started getting really ill till this terminal. Doctor says you got 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that he needs to do to prepare? He's not going anywhere now. All right.
So they're just together.
They're together, and there may be children. How should he prepare?
I think they should spend those last days not focusing on not living to die, but dying to live. Just dying to live those last days out. So whatever it is that they like to do, that person is able to do those things. Talk about the old days. Show them old pictures of stuff, how they used to look, and tell them all the things that you love about them. That's your one chance to just pour out everything. Because once they're in the grave, they're cold. You can't do anything. So it's not the time to be shy. It's not the time to hold anything back. Just treasure those last moments. I often think about my mom and my dad when he was on his deathbed. Like, I was there when he took his last breath. And my mom was like right there on the side of the bed, just rubbing his hands. She was singing to him and stuff. And I'm just looking at her like, this has got to be God, because there's no way. I mean, for her to just be there to the very end. And they had their ups and downs. And, you know, if it had been me, I would have been like checked out a long time ago.
Bye-bye.
But, my mom, she's a God-fearing woman. And, you know, they take their marriages serious back then. And they stayed. No matter what they went through, they stayed. They made it through. Now we just, if he stepped on my toe, I'm out. You stepped on my toe one too many times. But just to see her in the last hours of his life, just sitting there and singing to him and rubbing him and giving him permission to let go.
Permission to let go. Wow. So there should be support. There should be a discussion with each other. Do you think what you just said is for the living, or is it for he or her who's getting ready to die? Who is that precious time for the most?
It's for both of them.
For both.
It's for both.
But she's going to die and forget all that stuff.
Right, but it's still, I think it's for the moment, in that moment, when you only have a couple of weeks left, you living in the moment.
I see.
You living in the moment.
That was a tough question, wasn't it?
Just live in the moment. Live in the moment and enjoy every moment.
Yeah.
Stop trying to think about, what's going to happen next week when he's gone, when she's gone. Live in that moment and just enjoy each other's company while they're there.
All right. Children, what do you tell them? Mama's terminally ill. All right. Where do we go from here?
You be honest and you tell them exactly what's going on. You tell them exactly what's going on. You break it down to them in their own language. So depending on how old they are, you would break it down in their own language as to what's happening. Don't try to hold it back, because if it happens sooner and you didn't tell them, they're going to be mad. Tell them so you can allow them a chance to be with that person and to get out all the feelings they want, so they can come to grips with what's happening.
Grips with what's happening.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's always the planning, the financial planning.
Right.
And funeral plans and all that stuff.
Yeah. I look at my sister, not to interrupt you, my sister passed away at 52. And she had cancer, and they told us a week before her passing, she's going to pass. They met with all the family, the doctors. And so we had a whole week to just surround her with love. So what we did was, she was in like one of those nursing homes. We went there every day and we just surrounded her every single day until she passed, like the whole family. And that, I believe that was God just giving us a chance to love on her and not to just snatch her really quick, because he could have just took her in her sleep and it could have just been devastating to us, but he gave us that chance to, make any type of amends with her, or whatever it was we needed to do. And I can remember being in the room with her by herself, and I said, Nancy, are you saved? Have you asked God to save you? And she said, I asked him, but I don't think he heard me. I said, well, when you said it, did you mean it in your heart? She said, I did. I said, he heard you. He heard you. So that was me making sure that she was okay. When she passed, that she was going to be okay. And so when you love a person, you make sure that their soul is going to be okay when they pass.
When they pass. Last but not least, you should make sure that your lover tell you where everything is.
Oh, yeah.
In the house, at the bank. You need to make sure where you know where stuff is, because we many times in families I notice that somebody died and then I don't know where mom hid that. You know,
Yeah.
Remember the movie Soul Food?
Oh, yeah.
And all that money was in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and sometimes they do that for protection or whatever.
Yes.
Right? But you got a big family, like yours, big family. My family, big family. There should be a sit down to talk about who gets what. Now, people don't want to talk about that
Right.
when somebody's sick or terminally ill,
Right.
because it's not the time. Well, after she died, now y'all fighting to see who's going to be the head of this
Who's getting what.
family, who's going to do this one. Okay, I think it still needs to be talked about, although it's never an appropriate time to talk
Right.
about it. Okay, but now she's dead. Now y'all fighting, and now the division happens, and some families have literally broken up
Yeah.
and will never see each other again
That's true.
because you didn't talk about this stuff. So this is kind of hard to discuss for some people,
It
because
is.
some people who are watching this are going through that right now.
That's true. And I can say when my mom and my dad had already had their stuff planned out. So if one of them died first, the house would be paid for. You know, they had their stuff already, planned. So when my dad died, my mom knew where everything was. She took care of everything. As a matter of fact, she was able to pay for all of her stuff with the money, with his money. And so what she did was, at that point, she sat down with all of us, my siblings, and she said, this is what I want. And I pay for everything. So whatever money is left over, it's being split between the siblings that are left. So we don't have to pay for anything or do anything. She took care of all of that. And I mean, we should have those talks, because it's going to happen. I mean, that's something that is guaranteed to happen. You're going to die. If you're born, you're going to die. And so leave less stress on your family members and have all of that stuff already in place. If it's just to have the insurance policy to cover everything, and a little money left over so that they can live and pay bills. If you're the breadwinner and you know that they're not working, leave enough money for them to be able to live till they get to whatever they're going to do after that.
After that, absolutely. And we have what's called a will, so that you won't have to do all that fighting. The sick or the couple decided, let's do a will. Here's how we're going to distribute it to the children, and so it's in the will. So obey the will, pretty much. Now some people say, well, he was under duress when he made the will and all these things. So you really got to talk about all of this stuff if you can. My husband took care of all of that for me. Bridget Wills is saying. That's good. Tony says, my father died of a massive heart attack. My father was sick, but his family didn't know he was terminally ill.
Oh, wow.
Please don't keep that from your family.
Oh, my father kept it from us.
Big thing.
When my father was he was diagnosed with prostate cancer 2 years before he died. We didn't know. They didn't discuss it with us. My mom, they didn't say anything. He didn't want us to know. 2 years later, he ended up getting lung cancer. He still did not want to tell us. And my mom said, you have to tell the kids. You can't go through this and not tell them. So at that point, he had to tell us like 6 months before he passed. And we're just like, what? What is this? But he didn't. He was a prideful man. He was always the breadwinner. He was never sick, never spent a day in his life in the hospital. So it's like, for him to, be in this state to where people are taking care of him, people are helping him get up and down the stairs, people are driving him places, like, that was not my dad. And I think it made him feel helpless, and you got to try to give those people a sense of making them feel important, making them feel like things are normal in a sense.
Yes. Normal in a sense, right?
In a sense.
Absolutely. My auntie, we just saw my auntie last year, my father's sister. Here's the irony of it all. We at a funeral, for my cousin, Pastor Miggins here in Chicago, his daughter. Right. We at the funeral. My dad is in the front row, my mom up there too. And so my dad's sister comes in there and grabs my dad by the hand and says, yeah. And he's like, okay, what's going on? And so she says, let's go. Your sister is in the hospital, all right? So the people don't know what's going on. All they see is my auntie grabs my dad and walks out the church. Then my brother Rodney gets up. And then my brother Larry gets up. Then I get up. So now the church is like, what's going on in the Jones family? All right? It was a packed house.
Wow.
So we all go outside, and then she's like, your sister's in the hospital. So we all leave the funeral. And we go to the hospital. And we're there, and then the other sister comes in also. So we decide to have lunch, which was up the street from the hospital, because we couldn't go up there and see her just yet. And so we all had like a miniature family reunion. Having lunch, everybody's fine. I hadn't seen my aunt in a while. So that was last summer around this time, I would think. And a couple of days ago, I get a text. Your auntie, the one who walked in all fine, who we hadn't seen in a while, is in hospice.
Wow.
And we in the family group, because everybody got a family group on social media, and I immediately get upset. My brother Rodney get upset, because you know why we're getting upset? How you go from being fine to not getting sick or slowly getting sick, but you in hospice.
Right.
And we get the notice that you're in hospice.
Wow. So
we never got the notice that you was even sick.
Right.
Okay? It upset us to the utmost upsetness, okay? So what we did was we wound up going into another family group. See, that was our immediate family. So we went to the cousins family group. And we raised hell. Oh, we raised hell. Yeah. Raised hell. So y'all got to stop being secret. Yeah. Y'all got to stop this mess, because we're losing our founding fathers, okay, of our family, and they just getting sick, and then they're dying like that. I don't want to know that they got sick and then they're already dead. Right. I mean, it makes no sense. So then once we attack the family, then another cousin says, "Oh yeah, my wife is in hospice too." Wow. You see what I'm saying? We didn't even know she was sick. Wow. So then others began to say, "Yeah, or our mom is," and then we realized we got to do something about this. Yeah. So now we have launched a family vigil and prayer. Oh wow! Each day at that's awesome. Yes, each day at a certain hour. Yes. Okay, and then we're going to physically come together next week. And we're going to have this prayer. Yes. For a few hours, and so it's needed. It is. So there is a generation, I think, a family generation that very secretive. Many of them come from the South. Yes. Many of them come from Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama. Okay, and they are very secretive when it comes to people's being sick. And the church grabbed a hold of that. A lot of times our pastors are sick and we don't even know they're sick. And then they up and down. Or committing suicide. And so this stuff got to stop, people. And that's one reason why I'm doing this show, because there's too much secrets going on, especially in the black family. It is. It's too much. And it's dangerous. It is dangerous. I heard this lady said at a family reunion, what they do is they have this medical table. And at the medical table, everybody comes by and they put, if they have anything, if they suffer from cancer, asthma, lupus, whatever it is, they put it down on the medical table under their name, under their family tree, so that they know what is running, rampant throughout their family. So at least they have a chance to go to the doctor and say, hey, so-and-so is suffering from this. What are my chances of getting this? What do I need to do? So that you can get a jump start on it versus waiting on it to attack you. And then not even sharing the information with your family. It's just, you need that family support. It's so important to have that love and the family around you. A lot of survivors make it because they have support. They got support. Yes, you cannot fight alone. You can't do it, and you can't fight alone, and you shouldn't have to fight alone. Right. Don't be so pride and so shameful. Some people are, when they sick, they ashamed. They figure like, oh, what did I do to deserve this? They don't want people looking at them a certain way, like they did something to deserve it. But at that point in time, don't even care. Get your family around you. Let them love on you, take care of you. Relinquish some of your duties so that you can relax and you can restore and you can heal. It's important to your healing. It's important to your survivorship. Your family is very important. Absolutely important. And so the cop out is, just pray for Dad. Pray how? You see what I'm saying? Right. Pray how? If God is telling me to be specific in my request, that your request be known.
Yes.
And you just telling me give a general prayer. I want to know specifically what it is.
Yes.
Because when you go to the doctor, he asks for specifics.
Yeah.
Where does it hurt? Then he says, on a scale from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
How much is the pain? You see what I'm saying? He's trying to pinpoint that thing down to the very thing. So that's what the pain is. Okay, when I do that, does it hurt anywhere else? He's trying to figure out, that might be connected to something else. You see what I'm saying? But how is it possible that the world is more smarter and wiser than we who are Christians? And so if a sickness comes, somebody says, I haven't seen so-and-so in a while. Pray for him.
Just pray for him.
Pray for him.
Pray for what?
Pray for what?
What are we praying for?
You know what I'm saying? So this secret stuff got to stop. It's ridiculous, and I think it's evil. I'm just upset, so I'm just calling it evil.
Break the silence,
Break
people.
that mess.
Break the silence. We are losing some amazing people.
Yeah, we are.
Break the silence.
Yeah.
You got to be able to communicate with your family and say what you're going through. Allow them to help you through it so that you have a better chance of surviving.
Yep, a better chance of surviving, because if you tell somebody ahead of time, it might be somebody in that family who probably knows something, who may have a closer connection to God, number one.
Yes.
Number two, who may know something physically that they can do to help. Okay, and you just don't know. So let's tell them, listen, I have this ailment. Let's bring the family around. But my mother was told that she had cancer. She picked up the phone. She called all 9 of her kids.
I know y'all went over there like
Come on. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we all showed up.
Yes.
We all showed up, and we sat in the living room and talked about it. We talked about it. And us talking about that sickness caused other topics to pop up that we didn't want to face. We didn't want to face it.
Right, yeah.
We saw it in my father's generation. We ignored it. All right, and my brothers and I went through some stuff. We didn't talk about that stuff because men are very prideful.
Right.
But my mother's sickness caused us to come out with stuff that we had pain, but it wasn't physical. It wasn't mental illness, but it was more like hurt, that kind of pain. We were able to talk about it in front of the family, and prior to that, we would have never done it. You see what I'm saying? And then we prayed. The family had a family prayer, and it healed my mother.
You see how it was important, how your mom was able to bring these men together, these big, strong men together. And all of y'all was sensitive enough to what she was going through to say, you know what, we're going to rally around her so that we can help heal her. And love does heal. The love that you give people when they're going through, it does help to heal you.
It does help to heal you. Absolutely. Be specific in prayer is the key.
Yes,
yes,
it is.
Yes, that's it. Absolutely. So be specific, okay? And then, of course, my grandmother, they said that she had stomach cancer. And then, well, we knew what to do then. We all came back together.
See?
If God could heal my mom, could heal my grandmother.
Exactly.
And we knew then specifically what to pray for.
Exactly.
And my grandmother is healed today, and she's knocking on her 90s, okay?
I know, right? God,
you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this is important. Love does heal, Brian Fleming. All right, it does. Talk about it.
Yes, I can remember when I first found out, and I went to church, and I told my pastor, and I was like, you know, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and right away he went and got one of the other ladies who was a breast cancer survivor, 17 years, and he like linked us together, and she was able to put my mind at ease because she knew everything that I was getting ready to go through, and it kind of like put me at ease to know that somebody else had already been through it, and that God had already healed them. So it just let me know that, you know, God is a healer, and that I have a chance to come out of this thing alive. Not only that I was able to get a glimpse into what was going to be happening, and to see it happen to somebody else and how she overcame, and I was like, I'm going to be all right.
I'm going to be all right.
Yes.
Amber brings up a twist on this.
Okay.
All right? Now, I'm glad she brought up this twist, because this is controversial.
Okay.
She says the church as a whole doesn't prepare its members for death. Everybody wants to see Jesus, but nobody wants to die.
True.
When terminal illness presents itself, it's prayed against, and you are in error if you try to prepare for death. You are told that you have no faith in the healing power of the Lord. So when death does occur, and it cuts off, Facebook won't allow you. Okay? That's controversial.
It is controversial. I think I would say instead of praying against the death, just pray that God's will be done. I have learned, dealing with my warrior tribe and people going through, I have learned to just pray that God's will be done. Whatever his will is for that situation, allow that to be done. If it's death, then he has a reason for it. If it's not death, then let's pray for healing. But whatever his will is for that situation. And I think church, sometimes they be in denial. And I mean, we're taught that, prayer changes things. There's power in prayer. So, if you're praying that this person is supposed to be healed, then yeah, they're going to pray against death. But instead of praying against death, just pray that God's will be done. So whatever it is for that person is going to be done. I know that sounds kind of harsh in a way.
But see, it's on point. There's some people in hospice there, and they're going to die.
Right.
Except the Lord intervene, they will die.
Right.
Okay. So then the people are. That's why I'm glad Amber brought this up. Now the church come together, and now they need to find out, how do we pray? Do we pray that her death, that she falls asleep and she's taken? Right. Or do we pray, God, rise up from this sickness? Okay. We need to decide as a church as a whole, right, how we're going to pray.
So we can be on one accord. Right.
Because here's the problem. On the left side of the church, they're praying for healing. On the right side, they saying, bro, let your will be done. Go ahead and let her sleep.
That peaceful, right.
That peaceful, okay? Now we got a division in the church.
Right.
Because that's happening in our families, too. There's a division.
Oh, yeah.
That's the people who literally want their parents to die so they can collect the money.
Like, pull the plug. Don't pull the plug.
Pull that plug.
Yes.
Don't pull the plug. Okay, that's his fight. Yeah. So we are not on one accord, even in death. We're not on one accord in life. We're not on one accord in death.
Because we're selfish and we want them to live a long time.
Absolutely, we do. And that's what we need to feel the heart of those who, that's my mom. So we don't want them to die, even though they're in hospice.
But sometimes you got to ask them what they want.
Yeah, that's
sometimes
good.
You have to. I'll never forget Tonell Jackson said that she was praying that God would heal her mom. And then she talked to her mom, and her mom was like, I'm tired. Yeah, I am tired. I'm ready to go. And she was tired. And she said it hurt her so bad to her core. But she had to start praying for what her mom would want. She had to honor her mom's prayer. So sometimes you have to ask them what they want.
What time you have?
You would ask 11.
All right. I think we're done. 51 minutes. Not bad. Well, we used to
read some of the comments.
I think we... they were typing.
They were typing, yeah.
Oops. I read that. God's will be done. Veronica says, Bridget says that it's on point. Karen says, I agree. God's will has to be done. Learned that when my dad was sick and going through suffering and starving to death.
Wow.
Starving to death.
Wow.
Pray that they don't suffer long.
That's
Veronica
true.
said, there
That's
it
true.
is.
That's
there
true.
It is. Thompson. Bridget,
Right.
We pray that God's will be done. And Tanya, yes.
Yes. Tired and want to rest. Yes.
Some of them do.
Yep.
They're tired of the fighting to stay alive. And then there's internal pain that's going on in their body that you can't feel. They can. And they're just tired of the pain, and they know the pain ain't going to go away. So and some of them just ready to meet Jesus. They just ready to meet Jesus.
Some of them are holding on because they know you want them
to
hold on.
They know you want them to.
Right. And that's what I was saying, like when my dad when he was down to his last few days and his last few seconds, my mom was there singing to him, and rubbing him, and she was singing to him.
I seen it. I was there.
Yeah. And the song that she was singing, it was telling him to, let go. You can let go. It's okay to let go. And sometimes they just want to hear that it's okay to let go so that they can let go. They don't want to feel like, I'm letting this person down, even in death. No, just let go.
One of y'all asked me to pray for your father while we was at the hospital. You was, all right? I went over, and I know your father was not a very affectionate man.
Right.
Okay, he wasn't. And so I reached over and I laid hands on him, and in my prayer, out of my mouth as I was saying, God heal him, that's not what I was feeling. I was warring in my members because you heard me say, God heal him, and let his life, this healing be a testimony.
Yes.
And you remember that. And then I started feeling like, but what if God don't want to heal him?
Right.
What if this is his chance right here to really know who God is? and then he's taken.
Right.
The Enoch in the Bible, it says he walked with God, and then God took him.
Right.
You know, the King James used that old English, and for he was not, for God took him. That's what it says. He gone.
Right.
Okay. There are some cases where you're praying for someone, and,
Right.
and you want your will to be done.
Right.
That this person is healed, and God's like, you know, it's not what I want. But then there's sometimes God will lengthen a person's life because you did pray.
Yes.
But who are we to know which decision God makes?
Right, and we don't.
So we're still supposed to pray.
You still pray.
So I felt,
pray without ceasing.
there it is.
Keep praying.
So I felt that I should pray that God heal him.
Right.
I want him to be healed because the family was in the room,
Right.
and his grandbabies was there. Okay, and we want him to be healed,
Yes.
so that he could live for God.
Yes.
Now God decided otherwise.
Right.
How long was it after that he passed? It wasn't very
wow.
long.
It wasn't that long. No, it might have been like a week.
A week or so.
Yeah.
A week or so.
Because that was my prayer, was like, God, let him live long enough to, you know, if you bring him out of this, let him live long enough to have a testimony, so he can, you know, spread the word that, you know, God healed him. Because when my father, you know, when he got good news that something was going on, he would spread the word and everybody would know. Like he would pack a church. He would, you know, even in his funeral, it was packed, standing room only. I mean, people was like all downstairs. It was just packed. So I wanted God to heal him long enough for him to be able to just tell of God's goodness.
Yes.
And to give him a chance to get things right with God. And not only get things right with God, but get things right with people in the family. Like, you know, sometimes sometimes we carry along this shame, we carry along this pride, and we don't even apologize and say you sorry to people before you leave. And you leave people in turmoil. They have to deal with that, you know, when you die. So sometimes you know, release people too, you know, say, you know, I'm sorry, even if you don't want to go into detail, you know, but I'm sorry for everything that I've done to have caused any kind of havoc in your life, you know, and free them up and free yourself. Sometimes God will allow you to be sick and give you a chance to come to him and get things right, because if he leaves you out there, he knows you're not going to come to him. So he's like, I got to stop this right now, because this person is so deep in their mess.
True.
And if I leave him out here, there's no turning back. So let me just take him right now, get him a chance to come to me and bring him on home.
That's good stuff. Tanya, I'll let you have the last word. We're keeping the ill people sick when they're ready to go.
Yeah.
We know we're okay when they leave us.
There you go.
That's good stuff.
Yes.
Get you some good life insurance, y'all. And make sure that the family don't cry twice. Cry that you died and cry that you ain't leave no money enough.
Oh, wow.
Enough money to bury him.
Linda said the Bible teaches us how to live, and it teaches us how to die.
It sure does. Sure do.
But why we only want to listen to the living part? We don't want to listen to the dead.
We don't want to listen to it. All right. Okay. Y'all will read the comments after the show. The show is over. Hit the share button. Yeah. Hit that share button. Let everybody know that share it with people, because I don't care how well they are and how healthy they are. They need to know about this stuff, because it seems like only mostly white folk talk about death insurance and burial, and
they be ready
and all this stuff. They do all that stuff, but black folks
they believe in generational wealth for their people.
Yeah, for their people, and we think we're gonna live forever, and it's not happening. All right, so please, people, talk it over with your family about these issues. All right.
Can I give myself a plug?
Oh yeah. Please.
Hey, you guys, this is Lady Reshell of Warriors Talk. What we do is we move away from awareness towards action. So listen to me every Monday. Go over to Lady Reshell. You can either type in Warriors Talk with an S and listen to my show. It's all about cancer, other diseases that are running rampant throughout the country. I bring on educators, survivors, and we empower those before, during, and after a cancer diagnosis.
When is it?
It's every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So you could type in at Warriors Talk with an S and just meet me there at 7 p.m. live. Hi.
Thank you for watching us in the park. Meet us again tomorrow. Same time, same bat channel. But not her. She's going to be somewhere with her kids. All right. Love you guys. Hit the share button. If you're on your YouTube, go ahead and hit that bell. Bing! Subscribe and share this with everybody around the world. Love you. Thank you, everybody who's on here. There's about 19 of y'all left. And go to bed. Okay? Peace. This is the Sirwalterj Show.